Hello, my name is Chris if you didn't already know, and welcome to my show, SmegChris Review. And once again, before I talk about a movie, I want to talk about a television show. This one's for LA's finest. If you don't already know, this television show is a spin-off of the movies Bad Boys and Bad Boys 2. Gabrielle Union reprises her role from Bad Boys 2 as Sydney, and she's joined by Jessica Alba, who plays her partner Nancy. Of course, we get the same sort of usual nonsense that we get in Bad Boys with this show. You know, the two main detectives keep having banter with two other detectives. Then there are some side characters that we don't really care about, and we do get some sort of like captain or whatever in the beginning who does a lot of shouting, but he then disappears. Now the thing is, the show is still trying to find its feet. In other words, it's not that great. I think there's really only been one episode that I really enjoyed so far. There's a lot of bad things about this show. For example, you know, you think it's one story, but then they throw in another story, and then a continued story from the beginning that's been thrown in, and then another plot point, and then you've got a side character that you don't really care about, I'm going to keep saying that, thrown in as well. And so there's all these things happening that the first story, the one that you thought was the main story, sort of like gets sideswiped for all these others, and then you see the resolution of that in the next episode. And it kind of gets all confusing. And like I say, there are some side characters that I don't really care about. For example, Nancy is married to this guy, played by him who played Captain Awesome in Chuck, who I do like, but he has a daughter who's crazy. And he keeps focusing on that character, and I'm just like, I don't care. I really don't. And also there's this other character that Nancy's connected to from her past, and we keep seeing that replayed in flashbacks. And again, I just don't care. I'm not bothered about that character at all. The only side characters that I'm enjoying are the other two detectives and Sydney's father, played by Ernie Hudson. But like I say, it's still trying to find its feet. It's, you know, teething problems. And I do hope that at some point we will see maybe Martin Lawrence or even Will Smith make an appearance, even if it's just on a video monitor or something. But I'm not going to hold my breath for that. So if you are into police shows that has a little bit of humour and a little bit of action and a lot of talking, then I suggest you check it out. Anyway, I think I've talked enough about that. Let me go on to a movie review. And the movie in question is Fast and Furious, Hobbs and Shaw. I don't know why they're calling it that. They could have just called it Hobbs and Shaw. Everybody would have known. So yes, this is a spin-off of the Fast and Furious franchise. How many is that now? About 302? As seen in previews, this film is daft as a brush. I don't know why that's a saying. A brush isn't daft. Anyway, so the plot, the very thin one, is about this group trying to evolve humankind, as we see with Idris Elba. He aptly describes himself as Black Superman. And this is basically what it's about. He's the villain, and he's all super powered up. I mean, he can't fly or fire lasers out of his eyes, but he can do other things. He goes to steal this virus, but this MI6 agent called Hattie runs off with it to prevent him from getting it. He then frames her for murdering her whole team and stealing the virus. This is where Hobbs gets called in, and of course Shaw gets called in because we find out that Hattie is his sister. Then they find out that they have to work together to go and find her, and it doesn't go down very well. Eventually though, they do find her and bring her back, and then they find out that the virus is actually inside her. And that's when it becomes a race against time to save Hattie and the world. Now some of the insults between the main characters were very funny, but seemed to go on a bit too long at times. And some of those insults felt a little forced and not natural at all. As expected with Fast and Furious movies, the action is boisterous, loud and way over the top. I really hate this phrase, but I'm going to say it anyway. You can just leave your brain at the door. Some of the action is unbelievable, but that's because most of them are impossible. But I feel like with each of these movies they try to outdo the last one. I mean, one of the things I don't like about this film is there's not really that much of a story. It's more about the action and family. And that's just like the main movies, you get a great sense of family with this. We do learn more about the main characters and their respective pasts. The cast are all brilliant. Idris Elba makes for a great villain. And Vanessa Kirby is a great addition as Hattie. And I have to point out that there are some great cameos. I mean, as soon as Ryan Reynolds showed up on the screen I was like, what's he doing in this? And I hate to say it, but I think he stole the film because his character was hilarious. But what else is new from Ryan Reynolds? Although there was none from the main Fast and Furious franchise though. And of course there was this great big battle sequence at the end that I think went on a bit too long. Well, for my liking anyway. And also a little over the top. Overall I give Fast and Furious Hobbs and Shaw, and I've got a feeling there's going to be more spin-off movies from the franchise. And there you go, that's my review of Fast and Furious Hobbs and Shaw. It's now time for me to go, so I shall say thank you for watching and subscribing if you have, and liking this video if you did. Until the next time, peace out. So apparently they've started filming Fast and Furious 9. Yep, there's another one on its way. So I thought, shall I try and predict what kind of a story we're going to get? I mean, I know it's going to have cars in it. There's going to be probably some foot chasers. Something's going to need to be stolen. Maybe they're going to go out into space and they've got to race around in space shuttles or something. You know, maybe I shouldn't start predicting things, because I've recently watched an episode of review where I talked about what could happen in Doctor Who. One of the things I said was that the Doctor would be riding around on a dinosaur. And guess what? It happened. Unless the writers had been watching my show. So if we do see the Fast and Furious team go up into space, it's my fault.